Greetings. I welcome you to this poetry reading. I shall read poems from my book entitled Cities Underwater. This is a book of poetry and prophecy. The first poem that I shall read is entitled I Wish. It's located on page 74 in the book. The second poem is entitled In One Day. It's located on page 42 in the book. The poem In One Day refers to many nations, but it is referring to the United States of America. This poem is prophetic, and it is speaking about the United States of America. Let me read the first poem, I Wish, on page 74. Make sure you get you a copy of this book, Cities Underwater, if you do not have a copy already. If you have a copy, turn to page 74, and I shall read the poem, I Wish. I wish if I had a love that was kind, soft-spoken, I would hear her voice in my soul and in my mind. If I had a love that was kind, to caress, to kiss, and to call mine, sharing the gift of time. If I had a love that was mine. No stormy days, only sunshine. I wish I had a love that was kind. There is a place of bliss, I wish. Someone who wanted me around, pull me up, not down. Love on me and give yourself only to me, the way it should be, I wish. Now, I will share the final poem with you. It's located on page 42, and it's entitled In One Day, page 42. The poem, In One Day. In one day, she went the wrong way. The fall of a great nation in one day. They would not allow God to save, choosing to live depraved. An anomaly, a paradox, up jumps Jack in the box. People were divided by kind. Deception controlled their minds, causing her people to be blind. Finally, it was her time. Greed was their only way. The fall of a great nation in one day. Who would have thought the law was bought? Exchange morals for grief and sorrow. What is today shall flee tomorrow. Defining right to be wrong, the battle of hailstones. She wrote her own story, books of self-proclaimed glory. Judgment would no longer stay. The fall of a great nation in one day. Bombing and raping nations to pass on wealth to generations. An onslaught of complications. Judges took the part to legislate, shunning and discarding the will of the electorate. Her hands were in perversion while teaching tolerance and conversion. Mudslides, wicked and devastating tides, still in silent streets, an inferno of heat. No children at play. Oh, God, why would not the people repent? Why did they refuse to pray? The fall of a great nation in one day. The fall of a great nation in one day. Given to greed, seduction, and charm, watchmen refuse to sound the alarm. Storms seem to be the norm. Tick tock, broken arms on the clock. Medicines were produced to keep the people sick or to cause other health risks. Barren land, the wickedness of man who is able to stand. High interest rates, low interest rates. The land is shaking in the United States. Survival is at stake. People are asleep. They won't awake. Inhaling poison, eating poison, drinking poison, taking poison to treat sickness. You have been poisoned. Deceptive business practices, inferior services, inferior products. People are stuck in a rut, changing areas of the map. American companies are collapsing. Mass unemployment. Soldiers exhausted from redeployment. Why won't the people pray? Greed was the nation's only way. The fall of a great nation in one day. Shortages of food, water, and housing. Companies are outsourcing and downsizing. No longer strong, the nation is weak. 2008 through 2013, the forecast is bleak. Empty factories and vacant streets. Their justice had a miscarriage, sanctioning same-sex marriage. The continuation of abortion, media reports of distortion, a genius, not so smart, dishonoring and refusing to acknowledge God, no longer roaming around. The eagle has been cast down. Tragedy in America. Cities burned down. Destructive forces have met. Increased floods, increased droughts, increased pestilence, increased storms, increased earthquakes, increased cold and heat, higher food prices, higher oil prices, higher medical costs, higher utility prices, higher prices for goods and services, stagnated wages and salaries, feeling the after effect. Destructive forces have met. Now people are begging. Now people are beginning to pray. When judgment came in one day, a fall of a great nation in one day, in one day, in one day, in one day, the fall of a great nation in one day. Thank you for listening to the poetry reading from my book, Cities Underwater, Prophecy and Poetry at its Best. You can find this book at Books A Million, googlebooks.com, amazon.com, and other places. Make sure you pick up copies for your loved ones and friends, and you shall know what shall happen to the United States of America. You will be listening to my song after the conclusion of this session of poetry, and I have concluded. So you shall be listening to my song, This Is Our Time. It's a prophetic song that God blessed me to write and to record for your listening pleasure. Thank you.